And welcome to the chat on Newsday Amarillo and News Channel 10-2. I'm David Lovejoy.
And personality can neither be created nor destroyed. I'm Chuckalicious, Chuck Williams.
If you've never heard of this, then you've probably been under the rock for the last 10 years. Hamilton
Right.
is over the top musical, a long run on Broadway, one of the best shows the last 5 to 10 years on Broadway. You've got a chance to see it. It's coming to Lubbock at the Buddy Holly Hall. Joining us today is Mr. Eddie Ortega. He's one of the cast members of this great piece of work. Mr. Ortega, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Just a little background on you, sir. How'd you get involved in theater? How long have you been doing it? And then we'll dive into the Hamilton.
Yeah, so I started doing theater my senior year of high school. It was pretty late. Just this little show that was also written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, In the Heights. They were doing it at my school, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool. You got a Dominican guy playing the lead, and he raps. I feel like doing that." And I auditioned, and it worked out. I got the lead, and loved it, and was like, "This, if this is what musicals like I'd love to do this." And then went to college for it, got my degree, and then a few years later, was re-auditioning for Hamilton for like the fourth time, trying to get
wow.
the show, and it worked out, and I got in, and I joined just past April.
What's the energy of traveling and touring this show? What feedback are you getting from the public? This is a slice of history, but it's told in a
Right.
different way. It's told it's really, you hear that, especially, well, that's a boring old story. This is a story that has been injected with new life. Tell us what kind of reception you've received.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of what you just said. It's old America told by new America, and I think that's why it gets new life. It's what America looks like today, telling the history, and doing it in our own way, the way we want to. And the feedback we've gotten has been awesome. I mean, here in El Paso, it's our first time. I think the tour's been running for 6.5 years,
Right.
and it's the first time that it's been in El Paso. So, specifically in El Paso, they've been very excited to see the show because a lot of them have wanted to see it live for a long time. But on top of that, they say, "Hey, we've seen the show on Disney Plus." Some of them have seen it in New York, and they're saying the creators are really great at casting people who keep the show at the level that those main casts kept it at. So people have really enjoyed seeing the show, hearing the story. Yeah, it's been good, great reception.
While you're keeping the show fresh and keeping history fresh, there's very little deviance from historical fact in this, is there?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, it's pretty historically accurate. I think there's some deviance. Let's say the Schuyler sisters
Right.
not having like, older brothers, or obviously some of the language is not exactly what some of these founding fathers use with each other. But yeah, it's for the most part, I'd say probably 85-90% historically accurate.
Touring with the show, is this your first time heading to Lubbock? You guys are heading to the Buddy Holly Hall, and if you haven't seen this place, it is beautiful. The 19th through the 30th. Have you ever been to Lubbock? Have you performed there before?
Personally, I've never been to Lubbock, but I keep hearing this hall is beautiful as
Wow,
well.
it is.
Um,
Take it.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. I'm not sure the tour is gone either. I think this will be the first time Hamilton's there as well.
Wow, wow. It's a great opportunity to see a great play. It's going to take place at the Buddy Holly Theater the 19th through the 30th. Channel 10 is going to give you a chance to win some tickets to it and get out and see this. Now, how long have you been out on the road, Mr. Ortega? It's been traveling. You're in El Paso now. How long have you guys been out traveling?
Well, I joined in April in Richmond. So April, yeah, around April 10th is the middle of the month. So that's what, 3 months, a little more than 3 months.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Uh,
You know,
so
go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so we've been to a few cities because we've been kind of traveling every 2 weeks. So we've hit in those 3 months about 6, 7 cities.
Mhm.
So
Whoa.
cool.
And now there's some Broadway shows that are child friendly, teen friendly. I think Hamilton is that perfect segue, that bridge to introduce young people to the art of musical theater with an interesting topic. What do you say to that? Is this something you want to take your team to, your fifth? There's of course a certain age limit. Certain a young kid won't be able to sit and watch it probably, but it's engaging, isn't it? It's an engaging show.
Yeah, yeah, I think Lynn and the other writers did a fantastic job of making the show very teen friendly. For sure, you can bring a teen to the show. The language doesn't get too crazy throughout the show, and it's like you said, engaging. I think that's a great word to use. Like it, you talked earlier about it's an old story, people get used to it, but again, there's just a certain way with the
Mhm.
rhymes, with the rhythm, with the energy that you need for all these characters that makes the show super engaging, and your teenager will certainly love it, I assure you.
Yeah, you have to reimagine things. You have to
Right.
reimagine it and speak to the language of now. And I think sometimes you forget that and we think, oh, you're changing. Well, no, everything evolves, everything changes. And this has just been a successful show. They're going to have a lottery, a limited number of tickets will be available for every performance. And that's the key. I think you really want to have access. To these type of performances, these arts, and as a performer, Florida State grad, you've seen it as you've traveled through your career. It's starting to choke off, especially in the school systems. You're not having the access to the creative side of arts anymore. They're cutting drama programs. They're cutting music programs. How does something like this, Hamilton? Is it important to see that to keep stimulating that want, that need, that inquiry about this art form?
Yeah, Hamilton, amongst a lot of other musicals, people want to see in general themselves on stage. They want to see that they can have the access to perform in these kind of shows, to tell these kind of stories, but not just the old stories, but today's stories. I
Right.
Mhm.
mean, I'd love to see a musical about stuff going on today. Um, and unfortunately, yeah, I think cutting some programs and cutting some access for especially young people keeps them from feeling like they can have success in this art form. But Hamilton sure has, and I hope that shows like Hamilton continue to be made and continue to inspire those young people, even whether they have access or not, to create.
Well, News Channel 10 wants to do something special. They want to ensure that access. A limited number of tickets will be available for every performance for $10 each. There'll be a lottery that will open at 10 a.m. on Friday last week and will close at 12. Thursday, July 13th for tickets. Today, performances July 19th through the 23rd. And it'll begin on each Friday and close the following Thursday for the upcoming weeks. Here's how you enter. Use the official app for Hamilton, now available for all iOS and Android devices. The lottery will open each morning at 10 a.m. every Friday and will close at 12 noon that next following Thursday. Lottery prices not valid on prior purchases. Tickets for Hamilton, if you just want to buy one outright, are now on sale. Check the official Hamilton channels and Broadway at buddyholly.com for the latest release of seats. Uh, it, it, some people will never get to Broadway. Some
That's
people will never
true.
go to New York City, and this is giving that access, that opportunity to see something that's just award winning. That's an awesome piece. How does that make you feel as a performer, bringing this to communities like Lubbock, to Amarillo, to the surrounding community?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. You say not everyone makes it to Broadway. Is going to school for musical theater. It's a big thing that we all want to make it to Broadway. I think at first we, especially when you're younger, you have this idea of, oh my God, yes, that's the end goal, and then you realize it's not really the end goal.
Yeah.
Especially if you get to do it, but it is this, and that's this, I guess, second part of it, of bringing shows like this to cities that are not New York City. You wouldn't have
Right.
the chance to see these shows that are made, or London, who put up productions, or whatever it is, big cities in different countries. Yeah, being able to provide people who have grown up desiring that opportunity, it really does feel special, especially seeing them after the show. Yeah, it's nice to make some people's dreams come true.
If you need more information, go to www.hamiltonmusic.com.